Call to order the Wednesday, October 16, 2019 Finance Committee meeting at 7 p.m. Ms. Palmer, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Palazzo?
Here.
Mr. Berardi?
Here.
Mr. Trabuzio?
Here.
Okay, a quorum has been established. Mr. Palazzo, can you please read our mission statement?
Sure. The mission of Norridge School District 80 is inspiring educational excellence in a nurturing environment.
Okay, any public participation on the
Last I
sheet?
saw, there was none, but let me double check. None.
None?
Is it? No.
Okay, tonight is our first Finance Committee meeting with new members on board, so I thought we would start off with everyone just introducing yourself and just tell us your name so we all know who you are, and start with you.
I'm Molly Duck.
I'm Johnny Berardi.
John Cutrera.
Sylvia Kripko. Patty Ann.
Alan Kita. George Palace.
Okay. Also, I'd like to recognize some of our guests here tonight that will be involved with some of our discussions. We have, obviously, Dr. Craig Schilling, who's currently our financial consultant for District 80. With us today from District 234, we have Board President Paul Dranzarek. Also from District 234, we have Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, Tom Perillo. And also want to just recognize all the other visitors and thank you for coming. Before we get started, I thought it would be a great opportunity today to have an open discussion and learn more about District 234's financial planning and related procedures to see if we can use any information shared today in our future financial planning for District 80 and utilize some of the resources available to us. Today will be an informative meeting, but also an open discussion, so feel free to ask any questions and or share any thoughts you may have. In doing so, we just ask that all questions and or concerns are strictly directed to the interest of District 80. Okay. One of the reasons I reached out to Ridgewood was since we started facing some financial challenges for District 80, many people felt that possibly having a business manager in the building could help solve some of our problems. To start things off, Tom Perillo from Ridgewood, if you don't mind, I know you wear many hats at 234, but could you walk us through what you oversee under the financial umbrella of 234 and share some of your current procedures and business office practices with us?
Okay, and then you gave me some questions you want me to try to
Sure. However you want. I mean, just like I said, it's an open discussion. Kind of just walk us through so we can get an idea.
So there's a superintendent. Underneath the superintendent is me, assistant super, the business manager. In my office, we have an accounts payable person and a payroll person. So I'm in charge of essentially everything that is up front with the classroom in terms of teachers. And education is more of the superintendent side. I'm everything behind the scenes. So the rugs, the chairs, I oversee personnel, risk management, the payroll, accounts receivable, accounts payable in our office. So it's myself and then the two other people who are with me. As far as purchasing, the inspections, building and grounds, any RFPs or requests for proposals or bids that have to go through me. We also coordinate with our curriculum so that as they start to plan out, especially the movement that we've had toward competency-based, to make sure our facilities match what they need. Just kind of the general overview. Everything, if you think about education, everything that is not directly related to curriculum kind of falls under my my purview. Also the cafeteria and food service, the milk claim, all the grants, the state reporting, except for any personnel, the employee information system that we have to report to the state, that's handled by the superintendent's office, but I work on a portion of that.
Okay. Yeah, I did. There were some questions I know Ms. Palmer that provided, and I you can go ahead and answer some of the questions.
So as far as the purchasing side goes, we've had Skyward for probably 30 years. We have such an old system that it's a hybrid. So if you're, it's housed by a third party for especially our purchasing side. The student side is all web-based, so it's kind of a combination of those two. I think if you were to go and start all over again with Skyward, I think it's all web-based. But our staff likes it. I think it's less susceptible to getting hacked. It's more secure. It's also good in terms of the finance that I can go back and I can run reports all the way back into the 90s, so you can kind of see the ebb and flow of the cycles of business cycles and the effect on the school.
I'm just saying here, it goes back to the 90s, not because it automatically goes back to the 90s, but because we've been using it.
Yeah, we've
since
been
then.
using it so long.
So, you know, obviously somebody new coming in with it isn't going to have that kind of.
Right. When I was a teacher, we submitted all of our purchase orders by paper. Now they're all electronic. So one of the things I've done as I've come in is I've given the budget. We've developed all of our division heads are budget managers. They have a budget and they can do their requests, their requisitions, and then I can process them into purchase orders so that then they can. It used to be the business office pushed out all those purchase orders. Now they're responsible for them, and then they also are responsible for them when they come in that way. If a teacher is looking for something on day one, they can go right to their division head and they can look and see what was ordered, when it was ordered, and they can check the status of that as well. And then once we verify it, then we pay the invoice. There's also the punch-out system. You know, Amazon has become such a juggernaut that it just makes things a lot easier. So we're under the cooperative purchasing program for them, and it's made things a lot easier. We get things within 1 or 2 days, so if teachers need things right away, that's been a good delivery system. It's also, the reports come in a timely manner, so we're able to account for them. Returns are really easy too. So I hate to say it, but we're part of the whole Amazon thing too. So.
For the Amazon, the cooperative purchasing, do you know if that's compatible with like the Smile and kind of the donations back to the school somehow to get a percentage back?
Yes, they are. Yes, so you can put that out, and the only hard thing about that is that they have to go to the Amazon. They have to go to the Smile website, not the Amazon website. So a lot of people just out of habit go to Amazon rather than the Smile. Yeah. And then as far as auditing, our auditors have been Baker Tilly. We've had them since I've been there since 2015. You know, our finance committee has looked for us to probably go out and look for another group here within the next 3 or 4 years. But they send. We were doing our audit in October. We moved it up this year, so we'll get done a little bit earlier. And that way, we'll have our all of our documents a little bit earlier. We've had to file extension. We usually have to file extensions because we usually don't have the auditors out until the beginning of November, and they can't process everything until it takes them a couple of weeks to verify it.
And again, Tom's comment about Baker Tilly and that we're talking about looking in a few years for somebody else isn't because we're dissatisfied with Baker Tilly. Okay, it's just after a certain amount of time, you want to have a fresh pair of eyes. It's good practice to do that, or at least to look and see what might be out there. So don't take that as a negative to Baker Tilly by us saying, hey, we're looking to change, because with the cycle, it's just.
And they've been very helpful. They'll come in and the whole the way we look at the audit is that if there's a mistake or something like that. I think for the general public, which I didn't know until I took the job, is they're not. It's not an audit for fraud. So that's one of the things that we're really in this day and age. You're always checking everything to make sure that something's not going on. they do an interview with the board president. If they're, mostly it's categorizing, if you get into accounting talk, it's categorizing some finances or some revenues or some expenditures to make sure that they're in the right spot. That's probably been the biggest thing. And then we're small, so we get cited, our audit's on the website, so you can look at it. We get cited every year for the same thing because we're so small, separation of duties. We don't have an inside auditor who we pay. So there are certain things that we'd have to hire more staff in order to do that. We're not going to hire more staff, so it's nothing material that they find, but they're findings that come up every year.
Question: does your auditors report to the finance committee? Do they have a
at the end of the year?
report?
They'll come in. Yeah, so they'll come in and
Yeah, they come in. We have a finance meeting, and
And they'll present to the finance
will,
committee results of the audit.
we go through it, and we have a chance to ask any questions that we want.
Mhm.
we usually do that in February. So
Okay.
What about before the audit? Is there any communication with them prior to the
yeah,
audit?
so they'll come in. They come in June. They'll do their field work in June. So you have an idea of our payroll and our accounts payable person. That's really where they're going in their testing. Doing their testing. So they'll come in and they'll spend a week. They usually send 2 or 3 auditors in there, and they're in the room all day. They just have a bunch of work that they have to get done. So sometimes they're there, till 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Similar process.
Similar. Okay.
Mhm.
What's the timing of that typically? The auditor reporting to the.
We received our audit report today,
Okay.
and so we did not have to file an extension.
Okay.
But that doesn't matter. 30 or 60-day extension is fine.
So the next finance committee meeting, would they present to the finance committee?
I'd have to ask them, but is that something that's happened in the past? Probably. Yeah,
Usually to the board,
sure.
doing the presentation.
And they're presenting signed reports then, obviously, when they present, they're presenting signed. So who accepts the audit?
Me.
Okay.
And then we post it to the website. So like I said, we just got it today.
Mhm.
We got our AFR, we've submitted it to the ROE. Now we do the next step, which is to post it. So, yeah, we need to get that done.
I think some of those things that Tom mentioned regarding, internal control observations and recommendations to the district would be good for the board and committee to hear as well.
Yeah, and it,
Those won't be in the audit report per se sometimes, but they'll be in their kind of executive summary or wrap-up summary. They'll provide some helpful recommendations to the school district. Those will be helpful to see.
Do we have any knowledge of when the last time our current firm presented to the board or even asked the input of the board president?
I'd have to refer to Dr. Schilling, would you know?
You remember when District 80?
They've come every year, and it's been on, I think it was an agenda item just to accept the audit, and we just reported as part of the board meeting.
We certainly can do that. We can ask them to even present, so.
Right. I mean, if you want to change it to the finance committee instead of the board or both, you can do that.
Just from 234's sake, we haven't come to the finance committee. The finance committee discusses and talks about anything else, and then it still has to come as an agenda item before the board.
Sure.
At that point, depends on what's there, whether or not we ask them to come back and be at the board meeting. A lot of times we've had the finance committee meeting and everybody's comfortable if we're comfortable. So if we don't see any reason to have them come back, but if somebody wants, we do. But generally they come, in our case, and again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, that's just for what this is worth for us, is to let you guys know what we do. And that's what we do. We have them come to the
And like this, all the board members are invited to attend.
Right, our board members are able to be at the finance meetings if they want to, so.
So the finance committee approves a draft, and then the board approves it as final.
By that time, it's for at least the way we do it. It's done.
It's done.
It's done.
It's done. But they're
When you have an
presenting
idea-
all the results so that we have maybe a little bit more of an in-depth conversation at the finance meeting than we would at a board meeting.
So when you say done, it's signed final, or it's just done for
Oh no,
purposes?
it's done. It's been presented. They're done. You have a pretty good idea after the field work,
Right.
of what direction that you're going.